honey syrup. Why do you need it and how do you make it? Well, I'm making this video in response to Laura and Izzy's podcast, Drinking Stuff with Drink Stuff. If you haven't seen it yet, or watched it or listened to it, go and check it out. It's on the YouTube, it's on iTunes, it's on Spotify. They're basically working their way through the top different guides, top 100 cocktails. And they got to the bee's knees cocktail, which is essentially just gin, honey syrup and lemon juice. And it wasn't quite right. They Difford's Guide had an orange, added orange juice to the recipe, but traditionally it's just gin, honey and lemon juice. Now, the point being, it was they kind of made, the cocktail was slightly off in the first place, in my opinion. I wasn't here, I didn't taste it, but purely because of the honey syrup. So I just wanted to do a quick video about honey syrup and why you need it and how to kind of make it. Now, of course, you could buy it. One of the brands that we sell here at Drink Stuff, Monin, and I don't think any other brands sell it at the moment, but we've got Monin's honey, and that's, in all seriousness, that's what I kind of use at home. But you can have a lot of fun with honey syrup. Now, what I've done here, I've just got this ready to go. So I've actually, now, full disclosure, that's not actually that honey. I've got a jar of honey that's a bit solid on there, so I've just taken the top off there. But essentially, any honey will do to make this. But the point being, honey, if you like me and love honey on your toast and things like that, honey and banana, you will, if you really love your honey, you will appreciate that all honeys taste different. So you can make different tasting honey syrups. You can, of course, just use the cheap stuff. This is Aldi's own, but of course, you can use the more expensive stuff. Now, the point, why would you use a honey syrup? Why do you need honey syrup in cocktails? The simple fact is, this is quite thick at the moment, and it will take a long time to A, shake it down, and B, blend it into the cocktail. You know, that's the whole point of cocktails. You want all those flavors coming together. So as bartenders and bars, and even you guys at home, we would naturally make a honey syrup. Now, by making a honey syrup, sorry to clarify that, you are essentially loosening it up. You're making that runny honey even more runny without losing too much of the taste, without losing too much of the flavour. So all you need to do is very, very simple. Don't do a 1-to-1 ratio, do a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 parts honey to 1 part boiling hot water. And I've just got some out of the tea urn next door. So I've got 2 shot glasses gone into my just mixing glass here or cocktail shaker, and I'm just, this is piping hot. So I'm going 2, so I've done 2 of these. I've now just got 1 of hot water going in there. And it is as easy as that. You just kind of need to stir it down a little bit, and the honey will kind of work in, and you can already see that that is a lot looser and a lot runnier. Now, it depends, how long will it keep? It depends literally, and I'll say this all open and honestly, it depends where you live. In the world, in the country, for instance, I can talk about this. Cambridge, where I live, South Cambridge, I'm in quite the hard water area. So my homemade syrups, this is why I buy a lot of syrups, because my homemade syrups, the water is hard and will go off or start to form a bit of mould essentially after about a month, like 4 to 6 weeks or so. However, where I was brought up, where I was born and bred down in Cornwall, the water is very, very soft. And the syrups, if you make water, so depending where you are in the country, especially in the UK, if you've got soft water, your syrups, your homemade syrups, the chances are will last a hell of a lot longer. And of course, you can buy bottled water as well, but bearing in mind, bottled water is filtered and some of the stuff's taken out. So not all bottled water will keep as long as soft tap water, essentially, if you like. But it's up to you. But my point being is have a play with honey syrup. Get cheap and cheerful honey if you're just starting off that. But if you want to make a really cracking bee's knees, get some really expensive honey. I've made honey syrup before with Manuka honey, and it is absolutely gorgeous stuff, like New Zealand honey. It's absolutely amazing. Now you can see just after a couple of minutes, you know, that's proper loose, ready to go. Just give that a final stir. Of course, you could do that on the pan. If you were going to make loads of it, you could do that on the pan. And then all I'm going to do, we've got these little milk bottles, essentially. I'm just going to pour that into a milk bottle. Probably knowing me, kind of pour it all over the bar. And that will keep in the fridge. I've got a bit left over. That will keep in the fridge here at Drink Stuff for a month or so. I'll put some cling film over the top. But that is essentially honey syrup. Why do you need it? Why do you make it? Essentially to make it more runny to go into your cocktails. Even runny honey like that won't blend in. If you shake it, you'll notice a little bit left in your cocktail shaker. But making a honey syrup like that it's all going to blend in perfectly and give you proper banging honey flavours in whatever cocktail you fancy making.